بسم الله والحمد لله ونصلي ونسلم على رسول الله. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما وأصلح لنا شأننا كله ولا تكلنا إلى أنفسنا طرفة عين. أما بعد. So today we're going to be covering and going through the notes for Madinah Book One. And as part of revision for the exam. So not every rule that is mentioned in these notes will be covered in the exam, as I wrote the exam on the weekend and it's not as long as the usual exams which I've given out in the past. It's a lot shorter, simpler, and there is English, as the previous exams are all in Arabic. So we'll start with the Asma' al-Ishara. So we'll have people reading them for us. So as for the Asma' al-Ishara, so basically all we have to do is understand these rules and practice making up your own sentences for these rules. So obviously in book one, with regards to Asma' al-Ishara, we studied هذا, هذه. Did we cover هذاني? Maybe هذاني. We didn't cover هاتاني and هؤلاء, ذلك, تلك, and أولئك. So those are the ones we covered in book one. هذا, هذه, هذان, هؤلاء, ذلك, تلك, and أولئك. نعم. So Umar Farouk, if you can give me an example for هذا. I've got to on second allow the mic. نعم تفضل. You can unmute yourself. So if you're reading, I'm not hearing anything. 1 second. Can I be heard? Okay. So I was speaking previously. Could you hear what I was saying previously?
صوت الواضح.
Just 30 seconds ago. Yes, okay. طيب, so no, okay, couldn't hear what you said previously. Okay. So Abu Adam, are you able to unmute yourself?
I'm Ustad. Ismail, can you hear me, Ustad? Ustad?
Are you speaking? Because I can't hear you.
I'm speaking, Ustad. Can you hear me? Allah Ustad.
Oh. Okay, strange.
I'm Ustad. Can you hear me? I think the students can hear me.
Okay, I can hear you now.
Subhanallah.
لا بأس. طيب, so when I was highlighting this, did anybody hear what I was saying?
No. I heard you clearly, Ustad.
Oh, okay, so طيب, so give us an example for هذا.
هذا, we have هذا كتاب.
نعم, so that's enough. And هذه?
هذه ثلاجة.
هذه ثلاجة. So in the exam, it will mention the أسماء الإشارة, and you just have to give your own sentence for the أسماء الإشارة. They don't have to be just simple sentences like هذا محمد, هذه مريم, هذان كتابان, هؤلاء رجال, and then ذلك قمر, تلك مدرسة, أولئك مسلمون من الصين, for example. So you won't get any extra marks if you wrote أولئك المسلمون الذين دخلوا المسجد من الصين وزراء كبار. You won't get any extra marks for that, and rather if you do make mistakes in that sentence, you can be graded down for making errors. So just keep it simple unless asked otherwise. So that's very easy. I'm not sure, is there anything in the exam to do with عاقل and غير عاقل? So you don't need to worry about that. Just very straightforward. And then we come to مضاف and مضاف إليه. So in this example we have مثال كتاب حامد. كتاب is مضاف and حامد is مضاف إليه. And then we have كتاب المدرس وبألف ولام. كتاب المدرس, كتاب مضاف, المدرس مضاف إليه, the possessed and the possessor. So you probably be asked to give an example of مضاف مضاف إليه, one without alif and lam and the other one with alif and lam, i.e. that the مضاف إليه without alif and lam, as is in this first one, and the second one without alif and lam, as is in this one. It's as simple as that. Any questions on مضاف مضاف إليه? Or does everybody understand مضاف مضاف إليه? كتاب الله ورسول الله. So everybody understands مضاف مضاف إليه and the أسماء الإشارة that we mentioned previously. Okay, and then we have منعوت and نعت. So we mentioned منعوت and نعت, the description and the described. So we have البيت الجديد, and we mentioned that منعوت and نعت always are similar. ألف اللام ألف اللام, مذكر مذكر, مؤنث مؤنث, ضم ضم, كسرة كسرة, فتحة فتحة. They're always the same. But it's important you understand the difference between منعوت and نعت and مبتدا وخبر. As we've mentioned previously, for example, البيت الجديد, then we have a sentence. If we was to say البيت جديد, then that is not منعوت and نعت. That is مبتدا and خبر. البيت جديد, which means the house is new. Al-baytu al-jadidu means the new house. And then baytun jadidun means a new house, which is also man'ut and na'at. So understand the difference between these three. Now, for the test, understand the difference between these three. Any questions on man'ut and na'at? Don't be shy if there's something you don't understand, and ask.
Assalamu alaikum, Ustad.
Wa alaikum assalam.
How would you say it shared with Min'ut and Na'at? It shares the same characteristics in Arabic.
No, sorry?
How would you say that Min'ut and Na'at is share the words the same it shares the same characteristics in Arabic?
How would you say it?
Yeah, in Arabic.
Oh, why do you want to know that?
Just to write in my notebook.
No, just understand it as it is.
Okay, labas.
So obviously, if the first word is masculine, the second word has to be masculine. First word is feminine, then its description has to be feminine. Okay, so people are asking. So al-baytu jadidun, which means the house is new. The house is new. The house is new. And if you say al-kitabu kabirun, the book is big. So when it comes, so this is mubtada and khabar. So it's just you're talking about something and then giving information about something. The house is new. The book is big. The desk is small. But then we come to something that's specific, like we say al-baytu al-jadidu. So now the meaning of it changes. It becomes the new house. The new house. And the rule is called man'ut and na'at. So the man'ut is the thing we are describing, and na'at means the description. And the difference between man'ut and na'at and this sentence here is that however man'ut looks, then na'at has to look exactly the same. So it has alif and lam. So this has alif and lam. One dhamma. Masculine. And the meaning is the house or the new house. And then we have this one below here, which is also man'ut and na'at, but it doesn't have alif and lam. But they're both exactly the same. No alif and lam, no alif and lam. Two dhammas, masculine. And baytun jadidun means a new house. So the first one means, as we mentioned here, the house is new. The second one means the new house. You can understand the difference in English, can't you? That the house between the house is new and the new house.
Yeah.
And then baytun jadidun is a new house. A new house.
What's that?
So for example, you would say رأيت or you would say البيت جديد, the house is new. And then البيت الجديد, you would say ذهبت إلى البيت الجديد, I went to the new house. You wouldn't say ذهبت إلى البيت جديد, I went to the house is new. And you would say ذهبت إلى بيت جديد, I went to a new house. So there's a clear difference in the meanings and a clear difference in the way it looks as well.
So I have a question relating to this. So with the signs that we can see, the na'at man'u is it has to either they have to both be a nakra or either they have to be ma'rif. They have to be definite or indefinite. These are the signs. Now, the first one you showed was al-baytu jadidu. That can't be na'at man'u because what follows it has to have a similar in case ending.
Yeah, you can clearly see it's not man'ut and nat because it doesn't. They don't look the same.
Yeah.
So Amjad.
نعم.
What does al-maktabu kabirun mean?
The big desk.
No. Al-maktabu kabirun.
The desk is big.
The desk is big, yeah.
Yeah.
So what does al-bayt al-maktabu al-kabiru mean?
Al-maktabu al-kabirun, the big desk.
The big desk. And what does maktabun kabirun mean?
A big desk.
A big desk. Umar Farouk, what does al-haqibatu jamilatun mean?
The bag is new.
لا, الحقيبة جميلة.
The bag is beautiful.
The bag is beautiful. So what does الحقيبة الجميلة mean?
The beautiful bag.
The beautiful bag. And what does حقيبة جميلة mean?
A beautiful bag.
A beautiful bag. نعم. Abu Ahmed, what does الطالب قديم mean?
The student is old.
نعم. ما معنى الطالب القديم?
The old student.
أن طالب قديم.
An old student.
ممتاز. عمر أويس، ما معنى الباب صغير؟
The door is small.
The door is small. الباب الصغير.
The small door.
باب صغير.
Small door. A small.
small door. نعم. جيد. طيب, and then we studied حرف النداء والمنادى. So you must understand what حرف النداء means and what al-munada means. So حرف النداء is literally the ya. This is called حرف النداء. And munada is the one whom you are calling. So no matter who it is you are calling, that thing or that person will be called al-munada. So if you say Ya Maryamu, Maryam is al-munada, the one who is being called. So you have to understand what these mean for the exam, because it may just give you a sentence and it will say which one is harfun nida, which one is munada. Easy. And then the huruf al-jar, I think in the test I've only put 5 down, which is fi, ala, min, ila, and the lam. I haven't included the ba. So basically all you have to do is put each of the huruf al-jar into a suitable sentence. Again, a simple sentence. Don't make life difficult for yourself. And make sure that the sentences are clear. Don't put, for example, Aminatu fil mustashfa, where the kasra can't be seen because mustashfa is ism maqsoor. So don't try to be clever and then write notes on the side, ism maqsoor, you know, etc., etc. You won't get any extra points for that. So just put like here, المدرس في الفصل الساعة على المكتب زينب من اليابان ذهب حامد إلى المسجد أنا طالب بالجامعة. Simple sentences. هذا الكتاب لمحمد الحمد لله. And the اسم مقصور are those words which do not, the endings of them do not change. Now, so pay attention to words like this. Pay attention to them, as there might be some questions where it's trying to trick you. Now, so we remember these words, al-ism maqsoor, the words which end with alif that's maqsoor or alif mamdood, a straight alif or a broken alif, that the endings of them don't change. You won't see a kasra or fatha or a dhamma at the end of them. And then we have the asma al-mawsula. So we've only covered alladhi and alladhina and allati and allati in book one. All these other ones are extra, which I used to add when teaching book one, but we didn't add them in this this time around. So you'd only probably be asked about these four and to put them into a sentence. So just practice putting them into sentences, simple sentences, like here, الذي الرجل الذي خرج من المسجد تاجر شهير. Don't write what some people I've seen do before. They would say الرجل الذي خرج من المسجد, and that's their sentence. هذه جملة ناقصة غير مفيدة. That this is a unsuitable sentence, doesn't make sense, and it's deficient. You can't just say the man who left the mosque and that's it. No, there has to be a suitable sentence. There has to be information in it. So you do a full sentence. Tajirun shahirun is a famous trader, for example. So don't make sure your sentences make sense. Now, so even though you put the rule in a sentence and you write the kasra correctly, or the dhamma or the fatha correctly at the end of the word, if the sentence doesn't make sense, then you shouldn't get a mark for that. Now, they have to be jumal mufida, sentences which are clear. And for example, the questions on the huruf al-jar, make sure you write the kasra and the dhammas in the correct place. Okay, so for example, if you wrote this sentence, al-mudarrisu, so you had a sentence like this, al-mudarris fil fasl. That would you would get no points for that. You would get no marks for that. It has to be very clear. So you first write al-mudarrisu fil fasli. So don't try and think that you're going to get marks just by being very vague. No, this is an Arabic test, so you have to be very clear and very certain in what you write. Al-mudarrisu fil fasli. So that's the asma al-mawsula. Then we've done the lam al-ta'rif, which is just basically the lam, alif al-lam. So that's very basic. What does lam al-ta'rif do to a noun? It makes it definite. And causes it to take one dhamma, fatha or kasra. And then the dhama'ir al-muttasila. I'm not sure if there's any questions about this. There used to be. The previous exams I used to give were very long and quite difficult. But alhamdulillah, okay. So go through these, understand them and practice them. And the dama'ir al-muttasila, which come at the end of the nouns, كتابي كتابنا كتابك كتابكما كتابكم. So practice those also. If you have any questions, just write them down in the chat. Okay. Okay, then we came to Kam al-Istifhamiyya wa Tamyizuha. So we studied this recently, so it should be fresh in your memory. And remember, Tamyiz. Okay, so for example, Kam is al-Istifhamiyya, and the Tamyiz is the thing that we're asking the amount or the number of. Like, Kam qalaman indaka. Qalaman is the tamyiz. Kam ajalatan lid-darrajati. Ajala is the tamyiz. And remember, the tamyiz of kam is always singular, and it ends with an alif, except for the word, a word which ends with a ta al-marbuta. As here in the notes, if you have these notes, this is an error. It says makhtoom bi alifin wa lam. It's just makhtoom bi alif, not lam. It's a typing error. So if you're asked to give an example of this, make sure you write it correctly. So for example, kam ba ban. Make sure you write it correctly. Kam baban lil masjidi, for example. Ta'u ta'nith. Remember, ta'u ta'nith is the ta, which is silent at the end of all the verbs, which makes the verb ta'u ta'nith, which makes it feminine. So akala Muhammadun, akalat Amina. And then noonun niswa is the noon for the women, i.e. it's plural feminine. So we would say ذهب الرجال ذهبوا إلى المسجد النساء ذهبن إلى المسجد. So we just add the noon to the end of the verb to make it plural feminine. And then we have waw al-jama'a, so which is the waw at the end of the verb, which makes it plural masculine. Ar-rijalu dhahabu. It shouldn't have a shadda there. Ar-rijalu dhahabu ila al-madrasati. Al-hujjaju raja'u min Makkata. So again, if you go through this revision, the document, and when it gives mithal, then what you can do is just make up, then just write your own example. So memorize the rule and just make up your own example. And then we had the adad al-ma'dud, which was from 3 to 10, and we mentioned إذا كان المعدود مذكرا فيكون العدد مؤنثا والعكس. That when the thing we are enumerating from 3 to 10 is masculine, then the numbers will be feminine and vice versa. So we would say we done here, if we were to count these from 1 to 10, we said طالب واحد طالبان اثنان, and then ثلاثة طلاب أربعة طلاب, all the way to عشرة طلاب. And in feminine, طالبة واحدة طالبتان اثنتان ثلاث طالبات to عشر طالبات. Again, easy. And the last rule we went through in the book, which should be fresh, الممنوع من الصرف. Those words which the ممنوع من الصرف, remember, لا يحب شيئين, it doesn't like two things, which is تنوين, which is 2 kasras, 2 dhammas, 2 fathas, and it doesn't like kasra. So when it should have a kasra, it takes a fatha instead. Naam. So practice that for your examples. So for example, Zainabu, we would say ila Zainaba. Al-madarisu, that should be fil madarisi. So that's incorrect as well. There shouldn't be alif and lam there. It should be fi madarisa. Londonu min Londana. Londonu min Londana. And then we went through the different categories of the mamnu' min as-sarf, which I don't think we need to go through all of them now because we've done them recently, and the patterns. So just refer to this this revision document. So what will happen is on Thursday, 7 o'clock, you will enter the lesson, and the exam will be made available for you. So it'll probably be posted. It'll be made available for you to download either from Teams or somewhere. So all you have to do is download the document, and we will do it online. The exam we'll do the exam online, and you'll be given approximately about 50 to 60 minutes. So you open the exam, say it's like this, what you see now. You just be like 2 pages, and you will get a notebook or some pieces of paper, and you read the questions. We'll go through the questions first of all. I'll make it very clear what the questions mean, and then we will say, okay, start the exam. And then on your separate piece of paper, you will just write number 1, and then you write the answers, and number 2, and then write the answers. And then you will receive a link where you fill in that document. So, for example, it'll have your name. You put your name in. There's a few other important things that you have to fill in, and then it will ask you to upload your exam. So, with your mobile phone, just take a few snaps of the paper that you wrote the exam, the answers on, and just take a few snaps of that. And your score, I think on the form will ask you your final score. So we'll also tell you how you're going to evaluate it and to the percentage, because all in all, I think there is 60 marks in the test. So then you will use a calculator. So for example, if you got 40 right, then you use the calculator and give you the formula, and then it'll tell you how much percentage you got right. Now, so in order to receive a certificate, there are 4 grades. First, you have maqbool. So maqbool is from 60 to 70. Is it? Yeah, 60 to 70, which is acceptable. Maqbool means it's acceptable, you passed it. Then from 70 to 80, you have jayyid, which is good. And then from 80 to 90, you have jayyid jiddan, which is very good. And then 90 to 100, you have imtiyaz, mumtaz. You have excellent, the highest grade. Now, I expect most of you, or if not all of you, to get in the realms of jayyid to mumtaz, because the test is quite easy. What if you can't write in Arabic? It's an Arabic test, so you have to write.
Assalamu alaikum.
Salam.
تتكلم باللغة العربية لأنه لا أفهم.
لا تفهم. ما الشيء الذي لا تفهم؟
متى الامتحان ونوعه؟
الامتحان يوم الخميس في الساعة 7:00 في نفس الوقت، ومدة الامتحان 1 ساعة. فهمت؟
نعم.
1 ساعة، وبعد 1 ساعة وتكتب أجوبتك على أو في دفترك. الأجوبة تكون في دفترك، ثم تملأ استمارة. سنعطيك استمارة، تملأ الاستمارة بالمعلومات، يعني وكم النتيجة التي حصلت عليه في الامتحان، وماذا. نعم، درجات الامتحان 4 أنواع. نعم، مقبول، جيد جيد، جيد جدا، وممتاز.
جزاكم الله خير.
فالمقبول من 60 إلى 70، جيد من 70 إلى 80، جيد جدا من 80 إلى 90، والامتياز ممتاز من 90 إلى 100. نعم, so after you've done that, then a day or a couple of days after, you shall receive your exam. It will also ask you your attendance, like approximately how many hours did you attend the lessons. Now, is the test going to be available this week? The test is this week. It's on Thursday. My handwriting is quite bad due to dyslexia. Is there an alternative? Okay. I think so. 1 second. For those people, if you have, I'm trying to think. For those people who have issues in handwriting, maybe I can do a multiple choice test for them. But those who are able to write, then they have to write. Okay, but leave that with me. We'll see if there's an alternative. Can the test be taken at a later date as I'm away? Yes, it'll be available at a later date, but no longer than a few days. We don't like do it a month later. Can I do the rest via computer, phone, Arabic keyboard? Yeah, if you want to do it on a keyboard, that's fine. هل تجري لنا أن جوال أم لا? I'm not sure what you mean, Muhammad Sharafuddin.
كم سؤال؟
You mean? Sorry, 1 second. I'm reading the questions here. هل تجري لنا? You mean نستعمل الجوال? That we can use our phones? What do you mean? No, once you've given the test, you can't have any aids. You can't open a book and look for the answers or anything like that. No. My handwriting, can you ask someone to write it for you? Yeah. If your handwriting isn't too good, is there anyone who can do the test with you? You just tell them the answers and they write it for you. Yes. If you fail the test, you won't get the exam. You won't get the certificate. That's all. So if a certificate means a lot to you, then but it doesn't mean you can't do it at a later date. So we may give for those people who took part in the book one from the beginning, or they joined and they were like, you know, they really did attend the lessons, but they failed, then we'll give them, if they fail, we'll give you another couple of weeks to do more revision, and then you can reset the test, because it'd be unfair to say, no, that's it, one test, that's it, you failed, and that's it, there's no going back. So yeah, if you do fail, you get the option to reset. But I don't think many people fail, because I've had a lot of mercy when writing the exam. It's very straightforward. Only person who will find it difficult is the sister who mentioned that she can't write. But we'll see if there's any alternative.
Assalamu alaikum, Ustad. What if I have a bad handwriting? Is it okay if I can do it on like a document?
What if what?
What if I have like a really bad Arabic handwriting? Is it okay if I can do it on a document?
What do you mean? Do it on a document?
Just type up the answers and send it through the email.
It's not going to ask you to send answers through the email. Just type it in Word. Yeah, you can do it on Word.
Yeah, that's
type it in Arabic on Word, and then take pictures of it.
Okay, shukran jazeelan, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Assalamu
Salam.
Basically, you know, the exam questions, will it say give an example of a ta'u ta'nith, or you will give your example and then you bring your own example as well?
That's for me to know and you to find out.
All right.
You bet. Do you want the exam now? That's very specific. You ask me what the question's going to be, and it'd be very, very, very simple. Like, give an example for ta'u ta'nith, waw al-jama'a, and nun al-niswa. So just write a simple الرجال ذهبوا إلى المسجد.
أستاذ كم يعني سؤال الامتحان? How many questions do we have throughout the exam in total?
Let me have a look.
It's 23 lessons altogether. So did you divide all the questions rather? So
no. There's some rules I didn't really focus on. Let me have a look. There he is. I can show you. I'll show you the previous.
Do you have a template of the mock test, previous tests? It would be good. I'm not sure that's possible.
Let me show.
If you have.
Now let me show you the previous exam I used to give out. 1 second. I have Madinah Book One exam and Madinah Book Two exam. Madinah Book Two exam is very long. So this is Madinah Book One exam. Previous, see, it's 3 pages long and there's 16 questions. It's all in Arabic. So the first one, اقرأ الأسئلة ثم أجب عنها بأجوبة واضحة كاملة أعانكم الله. So in this test, so the first question, this one is اذكر الأسماء الموصولة وضع كل واحد منها في جملة مفيدة. It's mentioned all of the أسماء الموصولة and then put every single one of them into its own sentence. So you'd have to put الذي, اللذان, الذين, and then التي, اللتان, اللاتي, and اللائي. So like 7 sentences in the one question. But the new exam is much easier than this. And then it says you studied the Asma' al-Ishara. Mention all of them and put them all into an into sentences, and even put the غير عاقل and عاقل sentences. So this one was extremely long and quite difficult, but it's much easier. The newer one has
There's approximately 20 questions.
The one you're going to do has 18 questions, and it has 60 marks.
Ustad, you know those 60 marks, would that be from like bonus marks?
No.
Okay.
So, you know, like one question probably has about 5 marks. So, for example, when we're talking about the huruf al-jar, and so you have to put each huruf al-jar, which I've mentioned of 5 in the exam. So you have to put each one into a sentence. Every one you get right, you get a mark. So if you write al-qalamu ala al-maktabi, that's 1 mark. ذهب محمد إلى المسجد, 2 marks. So they're quite simple like this. Yeah, I think this exam is very simple. You'll be shocked. And there's not even much focus on vocabulary as well. I was thinking I'll just fill it up and do 40 other marks by making you write out loads of plurals and do like 20 marks of the meanings of words. But I thought, nah.
Long.
Remember the ayah, علم الله علم الله أن فيكم ضعفا.
Also, Ustad, I just wanted to quickly ask. تفضل يا أخي, تفضل. Yeah, sorry about that. I'll just quickly ask, you know, for the side books, we'll be testing on that as well.
No, the side books
okay.
no test for that. Okay, Sirin, what do we do about attendance? Yeah, so if you didn't attend all the lessons, but you went through the lesson on YouTube, the recorded lessons, then that will class as that you attended. Because there are many students who are disciplined like that. They can't make the lesson because they are because of the times or whatever, but they make sure that they go through it on YouTube. Then that's the same. That's the same. Would you please give us all a reminder about dangers of chasing certificates? And to ensure, yeah. I mean, it goes without saying that our intention is not to just get a certificate, but even though a certificate is sometimes, it does mean something, that it's like a tazkiyah, that you have actually studied this and you have understood it to a level where you passed, you were quizzed on it and you passed it. So almost, you know, every scholar that we know, they all have certificates. They all have PhDs and certificates in their specialist subjects. That's one thing many of us don't understand, that many of the scholars alive, they are specialists in certain subjects. That they all did PhDs or doctorates, and they are specialists in certain subjects or certain books, which they are they are scholars in regards to certain books. It's very rare to find a scholar who has gathered all of the knowledge. Well, it's impossible anyway, as none of the companions even gathered all of the knowledge of Islam. But it's rare to find a scholar one of the scholars who, like Sheikh Muhammad ibn Salih al-Uthaymeen, rahimahullah, he was a scholar who he was very well versed in almost all of the sciences: hadith, fiqh, tafsir, Arabic, everything, inheritance, that he had knowledge. He had a vast amount of knowledge, and that comes from studying with many scholars. And they say when he died, a lot of knowledge died with him, rahimahullah. Questions, yeah, they'll be in English, yes. They'll be both English and Arabic, so enough for you to understand. Okay, I joined the lesson slightly late. I still have to catch up a little. We'll be able to take part in a later date. Just do this exam and then see what you get. And if you're not satisfied with that, then we'll give people option to sit at a later date. Yeah, don't worry. If you're not completely understanding Arabic, you'll still be able to understand the test. And then after that, we'll have a short break, maybe a week, or we'll just carry on with doing the side books for that week. And then we will then jump into book 2. And you're going to wish that you were still in book 1. Well, many of you will enjoy it. Some people will find it overwhelming. But it should be, this learning Arabic should be something that you enjoy, and it shouldn't be a task. It should be something you enjoy. And I don't understand that you don't feel defeated if you don't understand some rules. You just got to keep going and keep going. As I said, you're not going to understand all of the rules. Don't let that get you down. Don't let shaitan come to you and say to you, oh, this is not for me, or you're too busy now, just study at a later date, or you've got your other exams to think about, or you're doing too much work, or you busy yourself with your kids or whatever, you'll be rewarded for your intention. No, just carry on. Now when it's Ramadan, then inshallah we'll stop. We stop for Ramadan, so there won't be any lessons in Ramadan. Any other questions? Don't worry, if your handwriting is not neat, don't worry about it. Your hands shake, okay?
Would it be possible to upload multiple pages outside?
Yeah.
Multiple images.
Yeah, I was told you get about you can upload about 4.
Okay.
But the answer should fit on 1 or 2 sheets anyway.
Okay. Okay, cool.
Will marks be taken out for bad Arabic? What do you mean bad Arabic? Define bad Arabic in writing. Sorry, I did by accident. Anyway, what do you mean? If your handwriting isn't neat? No, of course not. There isn't a multiple choice paper yet. I said I may do one. What is your advice for someone with difficulty in retention? We all have difficulty in retention. But we have the famous this statement of Imam Ash-Shafi'i. He said, "Shakawtu ila waqi'in li su'i hifdhi fadallani ala tarki al-ma'asi." He said, I complained to Waqi', the scholar, the great scholar Waqi', about my poor retention, memory, and he guided me to stop sinning. He basically advised me, then stop sinning. As sin, he said, if you stop sinning, your memory will improve. But you have to be repetitive. The best thing to memorize is to constantly go over it again and again and again. I don't know about all these intricate answers about can you upload PDFs, etc. It would just allow you to upload files. I don't deal with that side of things. So we have the dua. Yeah, Ustad, would you go through the fiqh book in book 2? Yeah, we're going to do all those. The side books for book 2, there's so many. We'll try and get through as many as we can on fiqh and etc.
Ustad, when we start book 2, would the days still be the same or would the schedule change?
No, it's always going to be 7.
I mean Monday, Yawm al-Ithnain and Yawm al-Khamis.
No. Same days. We're not going to change.
Okay. This is circumstance. I just wanted to understand.
No,
Maybe.
No. Same days, same time. طيب, a'anakum Allah. So do not panic. Just go through book 1. Just revise it. If you say to yourself, okay, I'm going to do 3 to 4 lessons a day, just read through it and then go through the notes. It'll be those who have been following the lessons and doing their homework, then it will be a lot easier for them. Now, so in the Jami'ah al-Islamiyah, the Islamic University of Medina, the most hectic time is the exam times. And this is when you see there would actually be students that would be taken to the hospital because of having nervous breakdowns, etc. Students losing it, screaming on the balconies because of the pressure. So I myself, so I can only give you advice from what I know. And what I experienced is when it came to exam times, I just used to read through the book again. And then literally when I would turn up for the exam, the whole of the building would be full of students with books in their hands and, you know, reading things quickly and loudly, panicking. But I myself, I would turn up with no book and no papers, and I would just sit outside and wait. And people used to say to me, "Where's your books? Why?" I says, "Look, I've been revising the whole year. That I wasn't someone who used to slack off. I used to revise all the time, and I used to memorize all the time." And I said, "So if I don't know it now, then I'm not going to know it." So those who are constant and take it seriously and revise, then Allah makes it easy for them, and you'll just get it, bismillah. But don't panic. Don't have a nervous breakdown. Don't panic. Don't tear the books up and break your pens and, you know. No, we can't just change exams, the dates, etc. just because someone can't make it. Sorry, but you can do it at a later date. If you can't make it on the Thursday, then you can do it at another date. طيب, if there's no more questions, then we'll end there. جزاكم الله خيرا وصلى الله على نبينا محمد والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
وعليكم السلام.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله